all over the world. A friend of friends came to see me in the office and talked to me about a story about a man who was involved in drug dealing and in stripograms. And for some reason, out of that conversation, I had this image of the guys at the end of Riff Raff, the Ken Loach movie, that leave the place they have built in flames and sort of walk down the road and stand in front of a Chippendale poster and say, this is what we're going to do next. And in fact, for a very short period of time, I even imagined I thought about going to Ken Loach and saying, why don't we make a movie about what happens to the Riff Raff guys, and the idea of making. And then I decided that maybe, he would have needed to drink too much alcohol in order to get into the spirit of thing. And I was very lucky. I had a friend of mine who at that time was working at Film 4, a man called Jack Leshner, who had worked with me at Columbia Pictures when I was working at Columbia Pictures a few years earlier. And he said, yes, we'll back the story. We like the story. At this David Aukin time at Film 4. And then I started looking for writers. And funny enough, the first person I talked to is a man called Simon Nye, who had written a wonderful little novel called Men Behaving Badly, which had very little to do with the television series that he made out of that. And he didn't quite understand what I wanted to do. And in fact, what I was interested in was doing a film about miners, because I had lived in Wales for a couple of years, and I was aware of the desperation of some of those villages where the pits were closing, even before the great strike of the 83, 84. And then I was lucky enough for Rod Hall, who was an agent at that time working in London, very brilliant man who had wonderful clients, to send me a script by this unproduced man called Simon Beaufoy. And it was a lovely script called The Tower Men. And it was about a group of men who painted pylons, electricity pylons. And it was a drama, and it wasn't a comedy at all. And it had a wonderful sense of the interaction between men. And I thought he was the right man. And I met with him, and Simon said, I don't know anything about mining, but I know about steel works, because I'm a Yorkshire man, and we had the same problem in Yorkshire, closing Yorkshire, steelworks in Yorkshire. And so I said, okay, let's go to Sheffield. And I went to Sheffield with him. And we decided, sure, let's set it in Sheffield. So that's how it all started. Yeah.